Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 38. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report, where once again we're going to have a look back in the past week, see exactly what was up, what was down, what profits were made, if any were lost. The good news is things are looking pretty well. Obviously, if you have followed us in the past couple of weeks on our news report, you will have seen that we talked about stormy weather, gloomy weather, and also difficult Forex markets. Things are looking a bit more bright now. Profits are coming in on a more regular basis. So before, obviously, we saw both big profit takes, but also big drawdowns. Now we seem to be more back to the normal part of it. And that also means that we have made some changes here in recent times, especially on our Pamm account. So that also means the profit is actually up again there. We have dialed things up a bit on the safe side here, obviously still, because we are not chasing the big mighty profits. We are simply trying to do the slow and steady builds the race. And that seems to have been working quite well in recent weeks. And obviously now we are getting at a level where we are quite comfortable continuing also. And you will obviously see more if you follow this news report all the way to the end. Now we're also going to have a look at Expert Forex and what they have. And basically this time around, Alex is talking about the grid trend multiplier, how exactly to try and apply this. This is an older EA, but again, this has been dusted off because there is some advantages also when it comes to some of the testing that has been done in the past. And last but not least, we're also going to have a look again at the IGMS, because again, we're going to have a look at all our profits. And unfortunately, the gap that we have in between early August to end of September, or to the end of August here, has still not been corrected fully. But the profits we have for this particular week, they look to be correct enough. And so we have to move forward. But still, some of the history back there, as you will see through this particular video, is not fully updated and still incorrect, similar to what we showed you actually in last week's news report. So let's get started. Let's get into it. Now, once again, I find myself here trying to explain to you that there's pretty much no news from Yieldnodes. There's no news updates. There's no information from Steve or Urts. I did reach out, and this is now quite a few months ago, to Steve to see if it was possible to have a meeting either at the hub or at the Malta office here again, but I never heard back from him since then. Obviously, from there on, things have been extremely quiet, just not on my side, but also on the entire Yieldnodes community. Everybody is waiting. There seems to be no real deadlines here anymore of what's going to happen in the future. So let's go straight on to the SAP coin itself. Again, here, nothing much is actually happening from week to week. The red circle is where we left it, which is once again where we are at about 7 zeros and then a 3. And as you can see, pretty much sideways, but overall still with a bit of a arrow downwards. So definitely things are not going in the right direction. And obviously that is very much down to also the lack of information that is being provided by Decenomy and the Yieldnodes team here at the moment. So we're going to go straight over to the staking instead. So this I still very much have ongoing and operating. And this particular week, we had just one coming in on the 22nd of September, 280 SAP. And that actually puts us up at the same level as February, March, and April for what we have gathered so far this particular month. And again, it is looking pretty average for the month at the moment, but we'll have to see. We still have quite a few days to go in September. Many things can obviously happen, but as you'll see, it is very erratic how often things are actually coming in. A couple of times they came in twice in the same day. Other times there's pretty much 2 weeks in between. Overall, we did 1% for the week with just 280 SAP. So again, nothing major to write home about. But we prefer to have the SAP coins in the staking. At least it is providing something in the hope that there's going to be a future for these coins here somewhere in the distance. Also for the PNY, also only one of 133 PNY in here. And that takes us off the all-time low for the year from May. So that is at least good to see. We passed more than 300 PNY for the month. So the first ones came in on the 6th and then on the 10th and now here on the 18th. So that one is still on the move and looks to be still a bit below average for the overall month, but we still have some time to go. And for the week, we made about 0.6% with 133 PNY. So obviously still not impressive here either. Bitcoin versus USDT, that has had a reasonable development since last week, where we basically left it at about 59,000. Since then, it crawled back up to about 63 and just reached 64,000. And since then, it has been trading pretty much sideways through here. So at the moment, very good and very high level. We'll have to see if it's actually going to be able to keep this over the longer periods. Now, Trillant is another one where there's no news, and this only comes out once a month now. Last week, I did show you in the news report here, there is certain things actually coming. There should be some video also from the CEO in the future. We haven't seen anything since then, but obviously when it comes, you will be able to hear it first time here. Now, let's go and have a look at the Trillant coin and see the development, because last week we saw a very positive development. We left it here with the red circle at 0.40835. Since then, it continued actually to move up, but maybe again, because there was no further information, no follow-up on the details and information from the Trillant platform itself, dropped down again. So at the moment, it is trading at 0.40953. It is a good development because it's about 300-400% higher than it was a couple of weeks ago, but obviously still extremely far from where we needed the coin to be in the first place. So let's go and have a look at the Trade Explorer. The 10 pair one did actually quite well this week. Last week was actually quite low, if you remember, $318 we got in this week, 3.2%, and that actually makes the overall line for the balance of 38,546. Equity at 38,495, floating profits only minus 51. You remember we had some recent drawdowns on this particular one here too, some massive ones, and then the close profit. But all the total returns and the calculations in here is off, and obviously this is again because of the flat line up here. These runs on the IG demo accounts. And that also means that the numbers are not really correct. You can see the rest of the time there has been a graph and a development, and then all of a sudden that was halted. That doesn't mean there wasn't any profits. It's simply just an counting issue. What we can rely on is the history, 497 days, so definitely going in the right direction. And if we have a closer look at it, we can also see that on the same graph here, we have that flat line for the couple of weeks where things basically got misconstrued when it comes down to the account sizing in here. Last week we had 181, as I mentioned. This week we have 318. So those new numbers seems to be correct. It is only the ones, you can see the gap in between again here from August and then to beginning of September. There is simply no trades, which is obviously not true. But at least we can now start to see the new numbers coming in and what they are, and they still look good. For the Wave Liberator, things are also looking good in here. As I mentioned in the beginning, that things have been coming down. That also means that we no longer have anything above the $100 mark in here. For week 38, Euro USD is actually the highest with $87 or 8.7%. Aussie Japanese at $86 or 8.6%, and then Great British Pounds, USD, $74 or 7.4%. Great British Pounds, Japanese, $66 or 6.6%. And then US Japanese, $59 or 5.9%. And overall, with about 3 Japanese in here and quite a few US and Great British Pounds, $372 was made or 7.4%. And that is a very good average from what we have seen before. It's a lot more stable compared to prior weeks and months. Now, if we also have a look at the graph, again, here you can see the development of the graph. It was actually going up as we had the Forex markets, so going crazy. And now with the IG accounts in here, not basically adding in the extra profits, now it looks flat. So again, unfortunately, the balance is correct at 249,000, and the equity also with the minus in the profits at the moment, profit and loss, minus 5,783. So the drawdown is also down, but there is still some issues on the total returns and the monthly returns, because it's only a few weeks and because the account now has a history of 401 days. It doesn't affect it too much. Monthly returns most probably should be about 1.3. The weekly return should be the same as 0.3. That's what it's been for a very long time. So these EAs are incredibly stable, and you can see a lot more about the individual currency pairs on our website. Again, here with the hightechinvestment.com, you simply go to the Wave Liberator accounts and then scroll down. You find these particular currency pairs in here, where you can select the individual ones to see which ones you actually want to try and trade, similar to what we do. Now, if we have a look also on the other graph here, again, you see the same flat part. We also have the history in here, and then obviously the monthly returns we talked about before. And then also here we go down. Last week, 745. This week, 747. So that has been very stable. And unfortunately, again, you cannot really rely on the numbers that we had from end of July, August here until pretty much early September. Unfortunately, those are a bit off. So, but there's nothing much we can do about it unless IG is actually going to try and update the accounts, which most probably won't happen since this is just demo accounts. So I'm sure they will put their efforts into other things instead. Now, if we go to the RSI Liberator, also for week 38, also here we'll see things have come down a bit, also below the $100 mark. New Zealand Japanese, again, you'll notice a lot of Japanese currencies in here. Those are the ones where the profit lie. $91 or 9.1%. Great British Pounds, Japanese, very volatile currency pair also, $88 or 8.8%. Great British Pounds USD, $59 or 5.9%. And then US Japanese, $58 or 5.8%. And then off on the top 5, New Zealand USD, $46 or 4.6%. Overall, these top 5 in here made $342 or 6.8%. in the past week. So also here very stable, and also when you compare it to the Wave Liberator. And if we go and have a look just at the entire portfolio, you can see the balance. We have 22 accounts of 10,000 each. So started off with 220,000. Here it's up 233. Equity is 227. Rolling profit and loss minus 6,347. So that has also come down, and that is at a good level that we are still comfortable with. Total return also in here is obviously a bit off, because also here we have a bit of a flat part where the IG demo accounts didn't provide the right basically profits overall. Monthly returns is 1%, which is normally a bit higher, 1.1, 1.2 we've seen it up at. And the same with the weekly returns. It used to be 0.3, but overall, you'll see on individual weeks, it's still cashing in quite nicely. It has a history now of 170 days, so more than 6 months. So good, stable results overall. Nothing has ever blown up. And you can find more details and information on our website also here. For that, you simply click again the individual currency pairs. See which ones are the ones that you might consider actually trading in the future, and we will of course also put the copy link service in. I know there's a lot of people that have been asking about this. We have taken our sweet time because we wanted to make some changes after the Forex market had actually been in a bit of a turmoil here. So once that is done, we will start then also adding some into the Expert Forex and see if they get accepted later on. But we have held back due to the developments in the market here in recent months. Obviously, again, numbers are the same. The history of 170 days. You can see the flat part here where IG demo accounts didn't pop in. They did have some accounts with $45, as you can see, which is way off everything else we have. Also here in the middle of August, so they are not really correct. The only ones we are starting to trust again is the new ones here. Last week, 406. Now we're up to a more reasonable level and normal level compared to what we have seen in the past, 651. So again, good strong development on all our EAs. And you'll find a lot more about the individual Wave Liberator, RSI Liberator on our website in here. Simply go to hightechinvestment.com, click on the portfolio, will get you to this particular page here. And also if you click on the Pamm account, then you're getting more details and information regarding this. And that has also been in a very good development. Now these particular numbers here is not actually having an issue because we are not running IG demo accounts on that particular one. That is the Black Bull account. The only part that can sometimes confuse people is when people are taking money out, as you saw on a big dip. This was back in April. We had another one here in July, August. So, and once again that happens, it looks like a bit of a minus when you go back and have a look at it, which it isn't, but that's because the profits are simply being taken away. And that also changes the weekly returns and the monthly returns. So again, they will be a bit off. So what you can do is simply have a look at the development. Now, last week we mentioned here also that about 17,000 was taken out from the Pamm accounts. People are making good money in here, and obviously they want to make sure that they also take some of the profits out, which we fully understand. But it will also take the net profits away on the FX Blue account, unfortunately. So it's going to be very difficult to calculate. This particular week here, that hasn't happened. So it has been very stable with what has come in, what has come out. So this is a bit more accurate, actually. So this particular week, we made $4,696. And that is a pretty good development, as you can see. And also in line with the recent weeks. So if you're going further back in here, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we have made some additional changes to some of the safer, less volatile currency pairs, where we have made some good changes. So based on recent events, and they seem to be cashing in quite nicely at the moment. That's also why we have this good development overall. If we have a closer look at the high-tech investment account in here for the Wave Liberator compared to what Expert Forex have, there has a summary at the top here on the green where it says at the moment under the Pamm accounts, there's about $574,000 where we have about 280 of that. So close to 50%. The gains that has been done in here is 126,568, and we are well above the 50% mark with this. We have actually managed 73,281 so far. And again, this doesn't account exactly for the people that have taken the money out again, but it's the same for all the Pamm accounts. Overall gains or average gains is 22%. We are above that with 26.1, but we are also a bit on top of the drawdown at the moment. So, and that is still due to recent Swiss francs developments we had here. Drawdown on an average 27.5, and that is, again, we have a few counts in there that doesn't make very much. Ours is at 34%, so that is still too high from what we really like, but we see other accounts is actually at 50% at the moment. So that is definitely well too high. So we are happy with where we are. Overall accounts for the net gains just the past week, that actually changed into a minus again. So it is fluctuating sometimes, and so is ours. Net gains overall at the moment with the drawdown that we have is in a minus, but the projected growth annually says here 46%. Again, this looks very low. At the moment, we're basically calculating this closer to the 60%. But again, FX Blue has an issue when money is taken out and then basically the profit goes away. That is just the nature of the game. Now, if we go and have a look on our website, you'll also find the Lucky Trader in here. And if you click that particular one, you'll see that for week 38, the top 5 EAs in here, which we only have 4 of at the moment, is in New Zealand USD, $725 or 7.3%. So that did extremely well this particular week in here. So a lot of money in just 1 week's time. Euro USD, at a more reasonable level of $235 or 2.4%, and then Euro Great British Pounds $166, 1.7%, and then we actually have a minus of minus $61 on the Euro Swiss francs, or minus 0.6%, and that is again down to this particular account was in a bit of a drawdown, and that also means that there will be some swap fees in here. So when it closes this particular time, that was open too long and we ended up in a small minus. It's not because it's starting to lose overall. So the total amount for those accounts this particular week was $1,066 or 2.7%. So it looks also here that the lucky trader has actually come down and started to cash in quite nicely again. And also if we have a look at the graph, you'll also see a flat part here. Again, same issue on the IT demo accounts, not really doing the account history correct. Balances is 47,000, equity 45, with a floating profit and loss, which is now down also only to minus 2,697. So that is definitely also a good improvement. Again, monthly returns, weekly returns also is a bit off, again due to the IG account issues, but we have now a history of 97 days, so definitely piling up on the history itself. And if we have a look at the past week's results, we can see last week it was 750, and this particular week it's 1,065 for these particular accounts. So definitely it is a good development. It looks like things have come down and is starting to cash in at a more regular level. Now, Alex from Expert Forex has also made a couple of videos this week. So this is the one with the great trading made simple. And basically he's referring back to the green train multiplier and the different ways of actually working with this particular EA. And the second part is linked to success. There are some new trading accounts that has been added in there. And obviously we also going to add some of ours. I know you guys are very eager for us to do that again. I have promised that will happen, but I wanted certain things to be back to normal, and also some of the accounts that had too high of a drawdown, they had to get a chance to cash it in, and then we make some changes again to the settings to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. At least we hope so. Forex market is obviously very fluent, as everyone knows. And that's what we had for you in this week's news report. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Please give us a thumbs up and also a comment. If you have any questions, obviously simply just add it to the video in here, and then we'll try and answer your questions. And of course, you will hopefully also have seen that the markets have actually come down a bit. The profit seems to be flowing in now at a more normal level, and also the drawdowns for most of the EAs here is down. They are taking over quite nicely again after a couple of months with rough waters for both July and August in here. So obviously we're looking forward to next week, and hopefully I'll also see you there on my next news report. So until then, bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.